Welcome to this Lumira Labs video demonstrating how to create a basic document in SAP Lumira. This will include acquiring data, enriching the data, building visualizations, and composing a report. First, we will create a new project by clicking File, then New. For this demo, we're going to click Text to use a locally stored, comma-delimited CSV file as our new data set. Once the dataset loads, there are options such as adding additional files, choosing the separator, and selecting which columns to include. In this instance, we will use the default settings. After the interface loads, our first step will be to prepare the data. Now we'll click the Prepare tab up top in order to add a filter to our dataset. Under Dimensions, we'll hover over State and click Options, and then Filter. In order to show only the states in the Southwest, we will hold down the Control button on the keyboard while selecting Arizona, California, Nevada, and Oregon. Then click OK. Now we will select Display Formatting under each of our four measures. This will allow us to alter the number of decimals displayed. Here we will change the setting from 2 to 0 and click OK. Since having decimal places is unnecessary in this example, this will serve us by making the data results less cluttered and easier to read. In these options, we can make additional changes to the display format, although in this case we will use the default setting to use the 1000 separator. Now we'll click the Visualize tab up top and create our first chart. Click the Pie Chart drop-down and select Pie Chart. This will change the existing incomplete chart to a pie chart. Now we will drag and drop the sales measure into the pie sectors box and the state dimension into the legend color box. We'll then select the Options button above the chart and click Show Data Labels. We will now add a second chart by clicking on the plus button at the bottom of the screen, then clicking the Geographic Charts drop-down and selecting GeoCorrepla Chart to create a map-based chart. Now click the State options and create a geographic hierarchy by names. Select the Show drop-down and click All Dimensions. Now click Region and change to State. Next, click Subregion and change to County Name and click Confirm. We can see a result with unresolved values, but since these are not part of our filter data, we have clicked Done. Now drag the sales measure into the value box and the sub-region dimension into geography. We'll now add another chart, and for this one, we'll stick with the default bar chart. Drag and drop the sales measure into the X-axis box and the metal dimension into the legend color box. For our next chart, we will also use the default bar chart. As in the last chart, drag and drop the sales measure into the X-axis box. This time, drop the metal dimension into the Y-axis box and state into the legend color box. The next chart we'll create will be a column chart showing the number of tons per state. Add the number of tons measure to the X-axis and the state dimension to the Y-axis. Then right-click the chart and select Show Data Labels. This time, the new chart we create will be a 3D column chart, which is located by clicking the Bar and Column Charts drop-down. Add dollars per ton to the X-axis, metal to the Y-axis, and state to the legend color. As you can see, the chart perspective can be changed by dragging the chart with the left mouse button held down until it suits the look you prefer. The next chart will be a bubble chart via the Scatter Charts drop-down. From Measures, add sales to the X-axis, number of tons to the Y-axis, and sales to the bubble width. From Dimensions, add State to Legend Color and Metal to Legend Shape to complete the chart. The chart we create this time will be a column chart with two y-axes, which will contrast the current sales versus potential sales per state. Add sales to the first y-axis, total potential to the second y-axis, and state to the x-axis. We will now create another column chart with two y-axes, but this time the contrast between current sales and potential sales will be according to the type of metal rather than state. Add sales to the first y-axis, total potential to the second y-axis, and metal to the x-axis. Right-click on Sales and click Set Axis Scale. Click the Fixed Radio button, change the upper value to 100 million, and click OK. And for our final chart, we will use a stacked column chart, which will entail adding two measures into the y-axis. First, we will add the total potential to the y-axis. Next, drop sales into the y-axis, but below the total potential measure. This is important because it will determine the order in which the two measures are displayed within the chart. Next, add county name to the x-axis to complete the chart building portion of this exercise. Now click the Compose tab at the top of the screen, select Report, and click Create. Select the blank canvas and add a color for the background. Drag the Sales by State chart onto the canvas. Now resize the chart to fit half the canvas width. Next, we're going to drag the Sales by Subregion chart onto the canvas. Once it's in place, resize it to match the existing Sales by State chart. Next, we're going to drag the Sales by Metal chart below the Sales by State chart. The next step is to drag the Number of Tons by State chart below the Sales by Subregion chart. Now, click Add Page, select Report, and click Create. Select the new canvas, expand the palette, add a new background color, and close the palette. Scroll down in the Visualizations area until you see the Number of Tons by State chart. Drag it onto the canvas and resize. Next, drag the dollars per tons by state in metal onto the canvas and resize to match. Now, drag Sales, Number of Tons and Sales by State in Metal onto the canvas and resize to match the upper two charts. Click Add Page, select Report, and click Create. Select the new canvas and add a new background color. Scroll down in the Visualizations area until you see the Sales and Total Potential by State chart. Drag it onto the canvas and resize. Next, drag Sales and Total Potential by Metal onto the canvas. Then resize it until it fits next to the first chart. Now, drag Total, Potential, and Sales by County Name onto the canvas and resize to match the upper two charts. Click Previous Page to switch back to page number 2. After it reloads, click the Input Controls picker at the lower left. Then drag State up to the filter panel. Click Next Page to switch back to page number 3. Click the Filter button and select Metal. Repeat this for State. Click the Metal filter and select Aluminum. Note that it drills down to the sales and total potential by metal chart, while the other two charts remain unchanged. Click the State filter and select Nevada. Note that the lower and left charts have now been filtered. Click Previous Page to switch back to page number 2. Click the State filter and select Arizona. Note that all 3 charts have now been filtered. This concludes our SAP Lumira report demonstration. Please return to the Comerit YouTube channel in the future for more demonstrations of SAP technologies. Thank you for joining us.